Luxurious office at Cardoso Holdings, São Paulo. Night Valentina, Cardoso. Impeccable, 33-year-old blonde, sits in a leather chair holding a wine glass. In front of her, Victor Landum, 45, company partner, elegant and calculating. Are you sure about this? Victor asks, tense. I am. Eduardo found out everything. The diversions, the offshore accounts, the land scheme. He's going to expose us tomorrow, at the board meeting, and your father-in-law, Thomas, is being treated. In 2 weeks, he'll be in an irreversible coma. Doctors will attribute it to a stroke. Victor approaches, and Eduardo, he won't just disappear. He's the CEO, Thomas's son, the face of the company. Valentina smiles coldly. He doesn't need to disappear. He needs to be replaced. While the world thinks he's here, working normally, the real Eduardo will be far away. You hired someone. Marcos is already being prepared. Plastic surgery, behavior study, voice training. In 3 months, not even Eduardo's own mother would know the difference. And with Eduardo dead or missing, no body, no proof. Perfect. Victor raises his glass. To the new Cardoso empire, they toast. The camera focuses on a photo on the desk. Eduardo Cardoso smiling, embracing Valentina in happier times. 2 weeks later, rainy night, winding mountain road in Serra de Mantiqueira. Eduardo Cardoso, 35 years old, drives his Mercedes-Benz convertible, tense, on the phone with his lawyer. Dr. Mendez, I need the documents ready first thing in the morning. No, it can't wait. I'm heading to the country house now. I need to think. Yes, including records from 2019 to 2024. All suspicious transfers. Victor can't know that I know. He hangs up, looks in the rearview mirror. A truck without plates follows very close, blinding high beams. Eduardo accelerates. The truck accelerates to, what the hell? Suddenly, the truck advances violently, hitting the back of the Mercedes. Eduardo, luces, control. The car slides, spins out of control, crosses the guardrail, and flips violently down the slope. The Mercedes hits trees, flips 2 more times, until it stops on its side against a rock. The gas tank starts leaking. Eduardo, bleeding, semi-conscious, manages to drag himself out of the car seconds before it explodes in flames. He falls in the mud, breathing with difficulty. He looks up and sees the truck stop on the road above. A hooded man looks down, sees the flames, nods, satisfied, and leaves. Eduardo tries to get up, but his head throbs with pain. He touches his own forehead. Blood. Lots of blood. His vision blurs. He looks at his hands covered in mud and blood. He tries to remember something, anything, his name, where he lives, but his mind is blank. Absolute panic. Who am I? He whispers, before passing out. 15 minutes later, same road. Marina Costa, 32 years old, brown hair in a ponytail, wrinkled nurse's uniform, drives her old 2010 Cosa, making worrying noises. She's exhausted, just finished a 16-hour shift at Campos do Jordão Municipal Hospital. On the passenger seat, her purse is open, showing overdue bills, electricity, water, Lucas's school, house payment. She turns on the radio. News: Cardoso Holdings announces $2 billion expansion in real estate projects on the São Paulo coast. Marina turns it off, irritated. Meanwhile, we can't even pay for my son's dentist. She sees the glow of flames on the slope, stops immediately. My God. Marina grabs her first aid backpack, always carries it, activates her phone's flashlight, and carefully descends the slippery slope. She finds Eduardo unconscious, a few meters from the still-burning car. Her training kicks in immediately. She checks vital signs: weak but present pulse, irregular breathing, evident head trauma, possible rib fractures, deep cut on arm. Sir, can you hear me? Eduardo groans, slowly opening his eyes. He looks at her without recognition, without focus. What's your name? Marina asks, holding his face to keep him conscious. Eduardo tries to speak, but only incoherent sounds come out. He looks at her with absolute terror in his eyes, the terror of someone who knows absolutely nothing about themselves. Marina notices the details: torn designer clothes, Armani, expensive Italian shoes, watch that even covered in mud is obviously very expensive. But there's no visible wallet, phone, nothing. She checks the burning car: too far, too hot, impossible to recover anything. Marina takes her phone and dials 192 emergency services. Hello. I need an ambulance, urgently. Sarah Road, KM 47. Serious accident, victim with severe head trauma, possible internal hemorrhage. What do you mean 2 hours? He might not have 2 hours, the operator explains. Bus accident on the main highway. All ambulances in the region are occupied. Marina looks at Eduardo, who is losing consciousness again. She makes a decision that'll change both their lives forever. Okay. I'll take him myself. Marina lives in a simple house in the outskirts of Campos do Jordão. 2 bedrooms, small living room, cramped kitchen, but clean, organized, full of children's drawings on the walls and photos of a smiling boy. With superhuman effort, she manages to put Eduardo in the back seat of the Cosa. He goes in and out of consciousness during the entire 40-minute journey. When they arrive, it's 11:45 p.m. Marina stops in the garage and, again with effort, half carries, half drags Eduardo into the house. She puts him on the living room couch and runs to get her medical supplies, more complete than normal, because she frequently treats small emergencies for neighbors who can't afford a private hospital. Marina works for 2 hours, cleans and sutures the cut on his arm, 17 stitches, bandages the ribs, 2 fractured, treats superficial burns, dresses the head wound. She applies intravenous painkillers, antibiotics, saline solution. While working, she notices more details about him: old heart surgery scar on his chest, valvuloplasty. She recognizes extremely well cared for hands, never did manual labor, athletic, but not gym physique, sports, perhaps. At 2 a.m., she finally finishes. Eduardo is stable, sleeping under the effect of medications. Marina sits on the living room floor, exhausted, and only then realizes her hands are shaking. She just brought a complete stranger into her home, where her son sleeps in the next room. What did I do? She whispers to herself. But then she looks at Eduardo. He's alive because of her. That has to mean something. A noise in the hallway makes her turn. Lucas, 8 years old, Spider-Man pajamas, spiky hair, looks with wide eyes at the unknown man on the couch. Mom. Who is he? Marina goes to her son, kneels at his height. Sweetheart, this man suffered a very serious accident. He was alone on the road and needed help. Remember when you asked me why I chose to be a nurse? Lucas nods. Because when someone needs help, we help. No matter who it is, okay? Lucas looks at Eduardo again. Will he be okay? I'll do everything to make sure of it. Lucas hugs his mother. You're the best nurse in the world. Marina smiles, with tears in her eyes. Go back to bed, sweetheart. You have school tomorrow. Eduardo wakes up 18 hours later. It's late afternoon, golden light coming through the simple window. He slowly opens his eyes and feels every inch of his body hurt. He looks around, small but cozy living room, old TV, bookshelf with nursing and children's books, photos of a woman, Marina, with a boy at various moments, beach, park, school, graduation. He tries to sit up and groans in pain. Marina appears immediately from the bedroom. Hey, easy. You have 2 broken ribs. Eduardo looks at her. You saved me. On the road, yes. Marina approaches, takes a small flashlight, and checks his pupils. Normal reaction, good sign. How are you feeling? Like a truck ran over me. He tries to laugh, but it hurts too much. Actually, from what I saw, you flipped down the slope, and your car exploded. You were lucky to be alive. Eduardo is silent, processing this. Then asks the question he dreads the answer to. What's my name? Marina stops. You don't remember. I don't remember anything. I don't remember my name, where I live, if I have family, work, nothing. It's like I was born on that road. His voice starts to tremble. When I woke up in the accident, I looked at my hands and had no idea who they belonged to. I'm so scared. Marina sits next to him on the couch, maintaining respectful distance. You have amnesia, probably caused by the head trauma. It could be temporary or permanent. We don't know yet. The brain is complex. Sometimes memory comes back gradually, other times suddenly, other times never. Heavy silence. Eduardo looks at his own hands. Was there anything in the car? Wallet? Documents? The car caught fire before I could get close. But you were wearing this. Marina picks up the Patek Philippe watch, now clean. It's very expensive, and it has an inscription. Eduardo takes the watch, with trembling hands, turns it over, reads aloud, TC-2019, always. Does it mean anything? He closes his eyes, trying to force a memory. Confused fragments pass through his mind. An elegant party, champagne, a blonde woman laughing, an older man saying, I'm proud of you, son. But nothing connects. No, it means nothing. He looks at Marina. Why did you bring me to your house? Why didn't you leave me at the hospital? Marina hesitates. The ambulance would take 2 hours. You were losing too much blood. And, she stops, thinking if she should be honest. And I don't trust the hospital system in this region very much. I've seen patients without identification be neglected. You needed immediate care. You risked your safety. Your son is here. I'm a nurse. Risk is part of the job. Eduardo observes her. Even exhausted and injured, he notices things about her. The deep, dark circles works too much. The calloused hands, hard life, but kind eyes, and a deep sadness behind the smile. What's your name? He asks. Marina Costa. Marina. He tests the name. It's beautiful. And your son? Lucas. He's 8 years old. And your husband? Marina tenses. He passed away 3 years ago. I'm sorry. Me too. Silence again. Then Eduardo speaks. I need a name. I can't keep being unknown man. At that moment, Lucas enters through the door, returning from school. He stops seeing Eduardo awake. Hi, Lucas says timidly. Hi, Eduardo responds, trying to smile despite the pain. Lucas looks at his mother. He woke up. Yes, he did. And he needs a name while he doesn't recover his memory. Any suggestions? Lucas thinks. Then his eyes shine. Gabriel like the hero from my favorite book. He also didn't know who he was, and was discovering gradually. Eduardo, now Gabriel, smiles for real this time. Gabriel, I like it. It's a good name to start over. Day 1. Gabriel learns to move around the house. He discovers he knows how to cook, makes a perfect omelet for breakfast. Surprising Marina, Lucas is fascinated, asks 1,000 questions. Gabriel has no answers, but enjoys the company. Day 2. Marina brings newspapers from the city. She and Gabriel search for news of missing persons, accidents, wanted people. Nothing matches him. It's like I don't exist, Gabriel comments. Marina finds this strange, a clearly rich man, with no one looking for him. Day 3. Gabriel tries to make himself useful. He fixes the sink leak, discovers he knows how to do this, helps Lucas with math homework, knows advanced calculus by heart, and seeing Marina arrive exhausted from the hospital, prepares an elaborate dinner, coq au vin. Marina looks at the sophisticated dish. Where did you learn to cook like this? I have no idea, my hand just knew what to do. They have dinner together. The first meal as a strange, improvised family. Lucas talks non-stop about school. Gabriel listens attentively. Marina observes the scene with a mix of emotion and concern. After Lucas goes to sleep, Marina and Gabriel stay on the small porch. You should be in a private hospital with specialists examining you, Marina says. Why am I not? Because I don't know. Something about this accident doesn't make sense. You're obviously rich. That watch is worth more than my house, but no one is looking for you. No news, no alerts. Gabriel looks at his own hands. Do you think someone wanted me to disappear? Marina doesn't answer. But they're both thinking the same thing. Gabriel has become part of the house routine. He still wears clothes borrowed from neighbors. His designer clothes were destroyed, lives on the living room couch, but feels strangely at peace. Every morning, he wakes up before Marina and Lucas, makes coffee, makes pancakes. Marina works long shifts at the hospital, sometimes 12, 14 hours, so Gabriel took on responsibilities, picks up Lucas from school, helps with homework, does shopping with the little money Marina can give. One afternoon, Gabriel is at the small municipal library with Lucas, helping him choose books. Lucas picks one about chess. Do you know how to play? Lucas asks. Gabriel looks at the board illustrated on the cover. Something clicks. Yes. Yes, I do. They borrow the book, and at home, Gabriel sets up an improvised chessboard with cardboard and coins. He plays with Lucas and discovers he knows not only how to play, but masters advanced strategies. How do you know all this? Lucas asks, amazed. I don't know, but I feel like I played a lot. Competitively, maybe. Marina arrives home that night and finds the two playing. She stops at the door, observing. Gabriel is laughing, teaching Lucas patiently. Lucas is radiant. He hasn't interacted like this with an adult man since his father died. Marina feels something tighten in her chest. She approaches. Who's winning? Gabriel is crushing me. Lucas laughs, but I'm getting better. Gabriel looks at Marina and sees something in her eyes, gratitude, but also fear. Fear of getting attached. Fear of what will happen when his memory returns. 2 more weeks. Gabriel and Marina are increasingly close. One night, Lucas has the flu, high fever. Marina is panicking. Mothers always panic, no matter how much medical training they have. Gabriel stays up with her all night, helping change compresses, give medicine, keep Lucas hydrated. At 4 a.m., the fever finally breaks. Lucas sleeps deeply. Marina and Gabriel are sitting on the floor of Lucas's room, exhausted, leaning against the wall. "Thank you," Marina whispers. "You didn't have to." "Yes, I did." Lucas is bestial. "And you too have become important to me." Marina looks at him. "Gabriel, when your memory comes back, you'll have a life, family, maybe a wife, children, an important job. You'll leave. What if I don't want to go?" Silence. "You don't know what you're saying. You don't know who you are. I know who I am now. And this person wants to stay here." Marina closes her eyes. "Don't complicate things, Gabriel, please." But it's complicated. They both know it. A few days later, Gabriel is organizing old papers that Marina asked for help filing. She's disorganized with paperwork. He finds old newspaper clippings, kept in a box. "Accountant killed in robbery. Roberto Costa, 28, was victim of violent crime." Gabriel reads the article. Roberto Costa worked in the finance division of Cardoso Holdings. He was killed, supposedly, in a robbery when leaving the office late. Police never found the culprits. When Marina arrives, Gabriel has the clipping in his hand. "You shouldn't be going through that," she says, but without anger, just sadness. "Sorry, I was organizing." "And Marina, what happened to your husband?" Marina sits heavily on the couch. For a long moment, she doesn't speak. Then, "Roberto was an accountant, good at what he did. Worked at Cardoso Holdings for 5 years. In the last 6 months before he died, he became strange, nervous, paranoid. He said he had found irregularities in the company books, large transfers to phantom accounts, diversions." Gabriel sits next to her, listening attentively. "He said he was going to report it, that he had proof. I asked him to be careful, but Roberto was idealistic, believed in doing the right thing." Marina wipes a tear. 3 days after saying he was going to the public prosecutor's office, he was robbed and killed. 3 shots. They took his wallet, his phone, case closed. "But you don't believe it was a robbery?" "No, I know it wasn't, but I have no proof, and I'm very scared, Gabriel. Scared that if I investigate, if I seek justice, they'll come after me. After Lucas." She looks at him. "So I stay quiet, work, take care of my son, survive, and I hate every second of this cowardice." Gabriel takes her hand. "It's not cowardice to protect your son. It feels like cowardice. Marina, you're the bravest person I know. You saved me, brought a stranger into your home, risk your life every day at the hospital for people who can't pay for treatment. Your husband would be proud." Marina finally breaks down and cries. Gabriel hugs her. They stay like this for a long time. When she recovers, Marina looks into his eyes. "Gabriel, I need to tell you something else. What I researched your watch. It's a Patek Philippe Nautilus, worth at least 800,000 reais. And those initials TC-2019, I searched. There's a Thomas Cardozo, billionaire in real estate." Gabriel tenses. "And 6 weeks ago, he had a stroke and is in a coma. His company is Cardoso Holdings." The air leaves Gabriel's lungs. "The same company where your husband worked." "Yes, this can't be a coincidence. It can't." Marina and Gabriel go to a cyber cafe downtown. They don't want to use the home computer for security. Lucas is at the neighbor's house. They research Thomas Cardozo and Cardozo Holdings. They find dozens of articles. The company is giant, billions in assets, projects throughout the country. Thomas Cardoso, 60 years old, founded the company 30 years ago. Widower. Has a son, Eduardo Cardoso, 35 years old, current CEO. Gabriel clicks on Eduardo's photo. His own face stares back at him from the screen. Eduardo Cardoso, younger, shorter hair, in an impeccable suit, smiling next to a stunning blonde woman at a gala event. That's me, Gabriel whispers. Marina is pale. Eduardo Cardoso. You're Eduardo Cardoso. Eduardo can't take his eyes off the photo. Gradually, memory fragments start returning. That office is familiar. That blonde woman Valentina. The name emerges in his mind, the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. I remember something, an office, arguments, numbers that didn't add up. He looks at Marina, and I remember being very scared, planning to do something dangerous. Marina searches for recent news about Eduardo Cardoso and finds something disturbing. Gabriel, Eduardo. Look at this news story from 3 weeks ago, after the accident. Eduardo Cardoso takes on new international projects. CEO of Cardoso Holdings announces expansion. There's a photo. It's Eduardo, but something is wrong. The photo is from far away, sunglasses, surrounded by security guards. If you're Eduardo Cardoso, Marina says slowly, and you're here with me, who is that person? Eduardo feels a chill run down his spine. More searching, more news. Eduardo Cardoso appeared at events, meetings, always from far away, always with security guards, always with glasses or at angles that don't clearly show his face. Someone is replacing me, Eduardo says, voice trembling. Someone is living my life. Marina and Eduardo look at each other, the horror of the situation setting in. The accident wasn't an accident, Marina says. They tried to kill you. And when they couldn't find you, they assumed you had died in the burning car. So they put someone else in your place. But why? Why do this? Control. Control of the company. Control of the fortune. Marina hesitates. Eduardo. What if Roberto discovered this? What if he discovered they were planning to replace you, divert money, and that's why they killed him? Eduardo closes his eyes. The pieces are fitting together. Marina, when did this happen? When did your husband die? 3 years ago, May 2022, and my father went into a coma 6 weeks ago. They poisoned him to get him out of the way. Then they tried to kill me. Now they control everything. We need to go to the police and say what? That I'm Eduardo Cardoso without any proof. My documents burned. My fingerprints aren't in any civil system. Even DNA would take weeks to process. Meanwhile, they would kill us. Marina is trembling. So, what do we do? Eduardo takes her hand. We need proof. Irrefutable proof. And we need to find out who's behind this before we expose ourselves. They return home in silence, both understanding that their lives changed forever in that moment. The next night, after Lucas goes to sleep, Marina and Eduardo set up an improvised investigation center at the small kitchen table. Papers, printouts from the cyber cafe, notes, who benefits from you being out of the way? Marina asks. Eduardo closes his eyes, forcing memories. My wife, Valentina, she would inherit everything if I died. But, he hesitates. I remember something. An argument. She was having an affair. With whom? Victor. Victor Landum, my partner, second largest shareholder in the company, after me and my father. Marina writes it down. Valentina and Victor. They would have motive and opportunity. Eduardo continues recovering memories in pieces. I discovered something. Weeks before the accident, I was personally auditing the accounts because something didn't add up. Transfers to phantom companies, land bought above real value. Someone was diverting millions, and you were going to expose it. Yes, I had scheduled a meeting with the board of directors. I was going to present proof, but, he stops. But before that, I went to the country house to organize the documents, and it was that night that they tried to kill you. Heavy silence. Marina looks at the papers. Eduardo, if Valentina and Victor are behind this, they have unlimited resources. Money, lawyers, private security. How can we, to ordinary people, expose this? I don't know, but I can't let them get away with it. They killed your husband, Marina. Roberto discovered their scheme and paid with his life. They poisoned my father, tried to kill me. How many other people suffered because of their greed? Marina sees the determination in his eyes. Okay, then we need to be smart, very smart. Eduardo agrees. First, we need information. Who is the imposter? How did they manage this? Where are the documents I had gathered? And we need to do this without them knowing you're alive. Eduardo remembers someone, Donna Celia, his Senline-year housekeeper. She was like a second mother to him after his biological mother died when he was 12. If there's anyone he can trust, it's her. Marina and Eduardo devise a plan. She will go to São Paulo, 3 hours away, pretending to be a distant cousin of Dona Celia who needs to see her about family inheritance matters. Marina goes alone. Eduardo can't risk being seen. She takes a bus to São Paulo, nervous, with a burner phone that Eduardo bought. She meets Donna Celia at a discreet cafe far from the Cardoso mansion. Donna Celia, 65 years old, gray hair, kind but tired face, looks suspiciously at Marina. You said you're a cousin from the Silva family. Donna Celia asks, confused. Marina looks around to make sure no one is listening, then says in a low voice, I'm not. Sorry for the lie. I came to talk about Eduardo Cardoso. Donna Celia goes pale. What do you want? Who sent you? No one sent me. Marina takes a deep breath. I know Eduardo. He's alive. Donna Celia almost drops her coffee cup. That's impossible. He disappeared. The police said he fled the country because of the investigations. What investigations? Donna Celia looks nervously around and lowers her voice even more. 2 weeks after Mr. Eduardo disappeared, the federal police showed up at the company. They said he was being investigated for money laundering, fraud, corruption. Mrs. Valentina showed emails, documents, suspicious transfers, all in his name. He vanished the next day. Everyone thought he fled. Marina feels anger rising. He didn't flee. They tried to kill him. He had an accident, lost his memory. I found him, my God. Donna Celia starts crying. I knew it. I knew Mr. Eduardo would never do those things. He's a good man. Donna Celia, I need your help. Eduardo needs proof. He needs to expose who did this to him. It was her, Valentina, and that man, Victor. They were always too close. And after Mr. Thomas got sick. Thomas was poisoned. Donna Celia doesn't seem surprised. I suspected. He was perfectly healthy, and suddenly, stroke, at 60. And Mrs. Valentina wouldn't let anyone be alone with him at the hospital. Only her and the private doctors. Marina leans forward. Donna Celia, the person who's impersonating Eduardo. Have you seen them? I have. From far away, always surrounded by security guards. Always wearing glasses. Always in a hurry. But, she hesitates. The voice is wrong, and he's left-handed. The real Mr. Eduardo is right-handed. Precious details. Can you get us something? Any proof? What do you need? Anything that proves this person isn't Eduardo, and if possible, evidence of the fraudulent transactions. Donna Celia thinks, there's something. After Mr. Eduardo disappeared, I went to clean his office at the house. I found a flash drive hidden inside a chessbook. He always hid important things there. I didn't tell anyone. I have it with me. Marina almost jumps with joy. Can you give it to me? I can, but there's more. The imposter. I heard the security guards calling him Marcos, and there are secret meetings every Thursday night at the office. Mrs. Valentina, Victor, and other men I don't recognize. Marina mentally records everything. Donna, Celia, you're in danger if they discover you. Talked to me. I know, but I love Mr. Eduardo like he was my son. If he's alive, I'll help him. Marina returns to Campos do Jordo with the flash drive. Eduardo connects it to Marina's old computer with trembling hands. What they find is explosive. Detailed spreadsheets of all fraudulent transactions for the past 5 years, more than 800 million reais, diverted, emails between Valentina and Victor planning the coup, including mentions of getting Eduardo out of the way and solving the old man's problem, reference to Thomas. Contracts with phantom companies, all traceable to Victor Landam, an explosive document. Contract with a clandestine plastic surgery clinic for complete facial alterations for a man identified only as Project M. Marcos. Payment records to Roberto Costa, followed by an email from Valentina. The accountant is a problem, needs to be resolved permanently. Marina has tears in her eyes, reading about her husband. Eduardo holds her hand. Now we have proof, he says. But it's not enough. We need something more. Something that will lock them up without possibility of escape. What else? Marina asks. We need to prove my father was poisoned. We need to expose the imposter publicly, and we need to do it in a way that the media, federal, police, everyone sees at the same time. Without giving them time to buy their way out, Eduardo and Marina develop a multi-step plan. Step 1. Marina, using her connections as a nurse, will gain access to Thomas Cardoso's medical records at the private hospital where he is. She needs proof of the poisoning. Step 2. Eduardo will record a complete video testimony, showing his face, telling the whole story, and presenting the evidence from the flash drive. Step 7. Donna Celia will photograph the imposter at a moment when his face is visible, proving it's not Eduardo. Step 4. Everything will be sent simultaneously to national media, federal police, public prosecutor's office, and posted online. Step 5. Eduardo and Marina will present themselves personally at a federal police station with a trusted lawyer. It's risky, Marina says. If it goes wrong, they kill us, Eduardo completes. But if we do nothing, we'll spend the rest of our lives hiding, and they'll remain free. They look at each other. Together, Marina asks. Together, they shake hands. But before letting go, Eduardo pulls Marina closer. Marina, 3 months ago, I died on that road. Eduardo Cardoso, the billionaire, obsessed with work, married to a woman who didn't love him, living in an empty mansion, he died, Eduardo. And then I was reborn, as Gabriel. And Gabriel was the best version of me that ever existed. Because Gabriel had you, had Lucas, had a real purpose. He kneels. I don't want to be just Eduardo Cardoso, the billionaire. I want to be the man who makes pancakes for Lucas every morning, who plays chess with him every night, who comes home every day to you, not to an empty mansion, but to a real home. Marina is crying. Marina Costa, you saved my life twice. Once on the road, pulling my body from a burning car, and once in your home, showing me what it means to truly live. Marry me. Let me officially be Lucas's father. Let me spend the rest of my life proving I deserve you both. Marina looks at Lucas, who stopped playing and is watching with a huge smile. Mom, say yes. Lucas shouts, I want Eduardo as my dad. Marina laughs through tears. Did you two already plan this? Maybe, Eduardo admits. Marina pulls Eduardo to stand and kisses him deeply. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Lucas runs and jumps on both of them. They fall on the couch, laughing, embraced, a family finally complete, but neither of them notices. Outside the house, a black car is parked 2 blocks away. Inside it, a man with headphones adjusts electronic surveillance equipment. They've been discovered. Marina returns to Campos do Jordo that night, by bus. She's nervous but satisfied. She has proof of the poisoning. When she gets near home, her mother's instinct makes her realize something is wrong. A strange car on the street, lights off in the house. Eduardo always left the living room light on. She enters through the back door silently. The house is dark, too silent. Eduardo, she calls softly. Lucas. Suddenly, the lights come on. 5 armed men are in the living room. Eduardo is on the floor, injured, hands tied. Lucas is crying, held by one of the men. Mommy. Lucas screams. Marina runs to him, but is grabbed by the men. A figure enters through the front door. Victor Landum, impeccable in an expensive suit, cruel smile. Marina Costa, the heroic nurse. He looks at Eduardo, and the ghost of Eduardo Cardoso. You were very clever. But not clever enough. How did you find us? Eduardo growls. Please, I have the best private trackers in the country. When the idiotic housekeeper was contacted by a cousin, I knew immediately. We followed her to the cafe, followed Marina back here, and we've been listening to every word for days. Marina is desperate. Please, let my son go. He's innocent. He doesn't know anything. Oh, I'll let him go. Victor approaches Eduardo. But first, where's the flash drive? And all the copies you made? Go to hell, Victor signals. One of the men points the gun at Lucas. No, Marina screams. It's on the laptop. In the kitchen. All the copies are there. Victor sends one of his men to get it. He returns with the laptop. Checks. Everything's here, sir. Excellent. Victor takes the laptop. Now, about you 3. Unfortunately, you know too much. But don't worry, it'll be quick. A tragic house fire. Very common in old houses with faulty wiring. One of the men starts spreading gasoline around the house. Eduardo struggles against the ropes. Victor, you won't get away with this. Donna Celia knows. Other people know. Donna Celia will have a tragic heart attack tomorrow morning, already scheduled. And who else? You didn't have time to tell anyone. He lights a lighter. But what Victor doesn't know, Eduardo didn't put all the copies on the laptop. He was smarter than that. Seconds before Victor throws the lighter, the front door explodes. Federal police, 10 agents, armed, invade the house. Freeze, hands on your head, absolute chaos. Victor's men try to react, but are quickly subdued. Victor tries to escape through the back door, but is tackled by an agent. Eduardo, Marina, and Lucas are quickly freed. A man in a suit approaches. Federal police chief, Marco Antonio Silva, Mr. Cardozo. I'm Chief Silva. We received your flash drive 3 hours ago, along with complete video testimony, documentary evidence, and coordinates of this location. We came as fast as we could. Eduardo smiles, exhausted. I sent 2 copies, one to the laptop they would take, another to you, that they didn't know about. Marina hugs Eduardo tightly. Lucas joins the hug, still crying, but relieved. Victor is being handcuffed, screaming, "This won't help. I have the best lawyers. I'll be out in 24 hours. You won't," Chief Silva says calmly. Not when all national media has already received copies of the evidence. Look at the TV. On the small living room TV, all news channels are broadcasting. Scandal at Cardoso Holdings, CEO, was imposter billionaire. Eduardo Cardoso was a live and hiding wife and partner, accused of attempted murder. Victor Pales. His exit is blocked. Public opinion is merciless. Eduardo, Marina, and Lucas are taken to give official testimony. On the way, Eduardo insists on stopping at the hospital where his father is. When they arrive, accompanied by police, Valentina is already there, being arrested. She sees Eduardo and goes white as paper. "Eduardo, you're alive." Disappointed, Eduardo says coldly, I can explain. Victor forced me. He threatened to kill me. You planned to poison my father. Planned to kill me. Killed Marina's husband. Tried to kill my adopted son. Don't try to blame Victor. You two are equally monsters. Valentina is taken away, screaming, trying to appear the victim. No one believes it. Eduardo enters the room where Thomas Cardoso is in a coma. He approaches the bed, holds his father's hand. "Dad, it's me, Eduardo. I'm back, and you're going to be okay. The doctors will treat you properly now. No more poison. No more lies." Marina is at the door with Lucas, giving privacy, but she sees Eduardo's tears. Miraculously, or perhaps because he's finally receiving correct treatment, Thomas moves his fingers, his eyes open slightly. Eduardo. The voice is weak, but it's there. "Yes, Dad, it's me. I'm here. I knew you'd come back." Thomas goes back to sleep, but this time it's healing sleep, not induced coma. National and international media covered the case relentlessly. The Cardoso imposter became one of the biggest corporate scandals of the decade. Valentina and Victor go to trial. The evidence is overwhelming. The imposter Marcos made a plea deal, revealing all details of the plan in exchange for a reduced sentence. Donna Celiot testifies. Marina testifies about Thomas's poisoning. Eduardo presents all financial evidence. The jury takes only 4 hours to deliberate. Valentina and Victor are sentenced to 35 years in prison, each for murder. Roberto Costa, double attempted qualified murder. Eduardo and Thomas, kidnapping Lucas, fraud, money laundering, and racketeering. When the sentence is read, Eduardo is sitting next to Marina and Lucas. He squeezes her hand. Justice has finally been served. Eduardo takes over Cardoso Holdings again, but he's a different man. The weeks living as Gabriel, a simple life with Marina and Lucas, completely changed his priorities. He restructures the company, fires all executives involved in the schemes, hires independent auditing, creates a compensation fund for harmed employees, establishes the Roberto Costa Fund, scholarships for children of unjustly deceased employees. Thomas Cardoso recovers completely. He and Eduardo have long conversations. Thomas realizes he almost lost his son because of greed and business obsession. "Eduardo, when I die, I don't want you to be like me," Thomas says in one of their conversations. You found something I never had, true love. Don't let it slip away. Eduardo goes to Marina's house, the same simple house where he was healed, but now he had it completely renovated with her permission. New wiring, new appliances, but keeping the cozy character he loved. Marina is in the kitchen preparing dinner. Lucas is doing homework. Exactly like when Eduardo lived there as Gabriel. May I come in? Eduardo asks from the door. Marina smiles. Always. They have dinner together, the three of them, like a family. And after dinner, when Lucas is distracted playing a new video game, gift from Eduardo, approved by Marina, Eduardo takes Marina's hand. Marina, 3 months ago, I died on that road. Eduardo Cardoso, the billionaire, obsessed with work, married to a woman who didn't love him, living in an empty mansion, he died, Eduardo, and then I was reborn, as Gabriel. And Gabriel was the best version of me that ever existed, because Gabriel had you, had Lucas, had a real purpose. He kneels. I don't want to be just Eduardo Cardoso, the billionaire. I want to be the man who makes pancakes for Lucas every morning, who plays chess with him every night, who comes home every day to you, not to an empty mansion, but to a real home. Marina is crying. Marina Costa, you saved my life twice, once on the road, pulling my body from a burning car, and once in your home, showing me what it means to truly live. Marry me. Let me officially be Lucas's father. Let me spend the rest of my life proving I deserve you both. Marina looks at Lucas, who stopped playing and is watching with a huge smile. Mom, say yes. Lucas shouts, I want Eduardo as my dad. Marina laughs through tears. Did you two already plan this? Maybe, Eduardo admits. Marina pulls Eduardo to stand and kisses him deeply. Yes, 1,000 times, yes. Lucas runs and jumps on both of them. They fall on the couch laughing, embraced, a family finally complete. After the storm, the work, nothing dramatic happened. After the night, Helena collapsed. And that was precisely the point. There were no speeches, no public forgiveness, no sudden peace. There was only routine. And routine, Eduardo discovered, is where commitment proves itself, the shape of a new life. The days reorganized slowly. Doctor appointments, feeding schedules, moments of shared silence that did not need explanation. Eduardo stopped measuring time in outcomes. He began measuring it in presence. Was he there when they woke up? Was he there when they cried? Was he there when Helena needed rest? These questions replaced metrics. Learning without applause, Eduardo made mistakes. Often, he overdressed the twins, forgot appointments, misread silences. No one applauded his effort, and strangely, that made it real, because for the first time, he was not performing competence. He was practicing responsibility. Helena watches carefully. Helena did not rush trust. She observed how he reacted when tired, how he responded when things went wrong, whether frustration turned into distance. She had learned that change is not announced, it is repeated, slowly. The quiet losses, some friendships faded, some invitations stopped coming. Eduardo noticed how conditional admiration can be. When success bends, so does loyalty. He did not chase replacements. What he was building required less audience and more consistency. A conversation with his mother one afternoon. His mother visited. She watched him hold the twins with practiced care. After a while, she spoke. You're different. Eduardo smiled. I'm slower, she nodded. Slower is harder. He understood that she meant it as praise. Helena's return to herself. As Helena recovered, something subtle changed. Her voice regained strength. Her posture softened. Not because life became easier, but because it became shared. One evening, she laughed unexpectedly. Eduardo froze, surprised by how much that sound meant. The question of love, they did not define their relationship. Not out of fear, out of respect for uncertainty. Love, Eduardo realized, does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it grows quietly, between responsibilities. The road, revisited, months later, Eduardo drove alone to the road, not to revisit guilt, but to acknowledge distance. He stood where Helena had once sat. The road looked smaller now, not less important, just less powerful. He understood then, the road had not changed his life, it had revealed it. What the children would never know, the twins would never remember hunger, or cold, or that moment of hesitation before he stopped the car. They would only know presence, and that was enough. Helena's boundary, respected Helena, remained firm. She kept her independence, her voice, her space. Eduardo did not challenge it. Love that demands surrender is just control in disguise. The man he did not become, Eduardo sometimes wondered who he would have been if he had kept running. Richer, perhaps, more admired, and profoundly absent. That version of himself no longer tempted him. No redemption arc, there was no redemption moment, no final proof. Just days stacked on top of each other, just showing up, again. And again, and again. The last recognition one evening, long after the chaos had settled, Helena said, "You know, you could still leave." Eduardo answered, without drama, "I know." She waited. "I won't," he added, not as a promise, as a fact. Some people are remembered for what they achieved, others for what they repaired. Eduardo would never be certain how history would judge him. But the children sleeping down the hall would grow up knowing one thing: when it mattered most, he stayed.